All right, what's going on, y'all? Time for a trade day recap, Tuesday, December 16th. So let's get into it. Oh, real quick, today is the last day for the Apex sale. So if you're wanting to get funding, this is the best sale I've seen them do all year. It's 90% off eval accounts. It's like $19 for any size account, whether you want a 50K or a 250K. If you do the math, the 50Ks are significantly easier to pass than any of the other accounts, like the 250s, 150s, for example. So I like the 50Ks. I have a few of those, and then I have a pile of 250s actually. But I like the 50Ks now. And they're also doing a really good deal with their activation fee. So if you pass the eval and you get want to activate the funded account, it's like $60 activation fee or something. And last time it was 110 or 120. So you can be all in for an account for like 70 bucks or something approximately. Really good deal. Link below, or BJT on checkout. So let's dive in. Starting off with today, I was feeling a little more bullish, and I guess we're over here on this screen, aren't we? Yeah, we're on. So we're over here on the daily time frame. So for me, overall market is bullish. The weekly's kind of going a little bit sideways. As we can kind of see in the daily chart here, we've formed these equal highs above, which were they're kind of a big clue for me in a tailless candle. Not that it can't leave them, but I'm leaning more towards price taking them sooner than later. And we came back down into discount of this range, tapped into this unused volume imbalance right there. We took previous day low. So anywhere from this volume imbalance to this gap or this volume imbalance, I can see longs. Obviously, I'm keeping in mind that it could still be bearish and come down to these ones, but that's the risk I'm willing to take. On the 4-hour chart, what I was seeing, here's the 6 a.m. candle, is pre-market. We came down into this 4-hour fair value gap. The 2 a.m. candle took this previous candle's low. We formed SMT in several different places, bullish SMT. So I was looking kind of like at this as the possibility for a potential reversal. And then on the 1 hour, same kind of thing. Oh, on the 4-hour, keeping in mind, we are in bullish order flow and a bearish retracement. So trying to keep that context in mind. And the same thing holds true on the 1 hour, locally bearish, but overall bullish. The 1 hour, we can see the 7 a.m. candle, 6 a.m. candle closed above, forming this inversion fair value gap. So I was thinking the possibility it could come back down and retest, but overall I was bullish. Now, one thing to note is look at all these resistance levels that we were in. So this was something I factored in. Previous week's low, previous month's equilibrium, and previous day low were all right above and in that zone. So it wasn't helping the bullish case. And I kept that in mind. So I wasn't like confidently bullish. I was pessimistically bullish. And then when I saw this, I was definitely not only pessimistically bullish, but probably hesitant and conservative for the day. What I saw here is, and I'll move this over here. So London, the purple box, took Asia's high and Asia's low, suggesting that was a possibility for a seek and destroy. So I kept that in mind, and look what ended up happening. So here on the 15-minute, we got this barcode pattern. I was kind of wondering if it would be London low of the day, and I was wondering if on the 15-minute we'd come back down into discount and before continuing long. So that was kind of the narrative and the bias that I had, thinking we were at a higher time frame reversal level, and we had tons of buy side liquidity after the last number of days of just coming down. So that was the idea. Moving over to this chart here. So what we can see here again are these prominent levels: previous day low, previous month equilibrium, previous day low. Here's the 930 open at the blue vertical line. And I don't usually take trades at 9:30. I like it to play out a few minutes before I get into a trade. But in the case of today, I went ahead and went in on this candle right here at 9:31. Everything looked pretty nice. The whole formation looked pretty nice. There was enough candlesticks in here that I felt it was a legitimate model. All the criteria was met for me. And so I went in long, and I moved my stop loss to break even once it hit 1.5R. And I kind of forgot that I'm supposed to allow myself a retest and then go break even at 1 to 1.5R. So I forgot about that. And I ended up getting stopped out at break even on this setup, which ended up being fine. It never made it to my 3R target. And then I had forgotten about the 945 news right here. Anyway, so one of two things was going to happen. Price was either going to consolidate until the 945 news, or given that this tapped into the higher time frame levels, SMT, the 945 was going to propel it. So either way, you know, it turned out in my favor, I guess, other than a win. I'm okay getting stopped out at break even. So that was this trade. I wanted to get in on this long, but you can see right here, I was waiting for a retracement down to this inversion, and I was ready to pull the trigger if we got some kind of retracement. And I, for a split second, thought about marketing in, but I also knew that we had quite a large stop loss for me, and I didn't want to risk a ton today, given that I was anticipating seek and destroy conditions, and then we had these resistance levels above. So I didn't end up getting in on this trade, which in the end, it never made it to 3R, which is fine. And then, let's see here, my other trade was this trade right here. I marketed in on this candle, seeing this inversion. I was on the 2-minute chart, and then what I realized is, go to the 2-minute, I guess. I realized midnight was right below, and we also had these equal lows right in here, so I got spooked out a little bit. I went break even on the trade while I was investigating it further. I ended up getting stopped out at break even. I ended up finding SMT down in here that with, I think it was ES, helping to suggest that it might not come for those equal lows. So had I seen that a little bit sooner, I probably would have let it play out. Even still, you can see it never hit my 3R target. And truthfully, if I'm looking at this, yeah, so the stop loss was pretty big for me. I want to be conservative this week. I want to end this year with my account green. And so I'm being pretty picky, pretty careful, pretty cautious. I don't need to push it. It's not like this week is going to make me, you know. So I'd much rather just prefer to preserve my capital this week. So I didn't want to risk tons on this trade either. And in the end, ended up being just break even day. So we can see the execution marks, boom and boom, boom and boom. We'll go to the 1-minute chart. So yeah, pretty boring trading day, but I think this is important too, because we walk this fine line as traders of putting risk on, knowing when not to put risk on, and that's part of our edge. And that's in balance with ensuring we don't miss too many opportunities. And so in the case of today, I'm actually pretty okay with it. For me, I was willing to get into a trade if it wanted to distribute and just run. The mistake that I probably made, the thing that I probably should have corrected, is lower targets. Going for 2R, I probably would have had a win if I would have gone 2R. But to some extent, now that I'm saying that out loud, just thinking out loud here, that kind of means I'm trading in lower probability conditions. Like if I need to reduce my profit, take profit from 3R, then I'm in lower probability conditions, because in most good conditions, my trade setups give 5, 6, 7, 8, 9R. And so my 3R is even still conservative for when my model's working well. So yeah, that's a recap is what went on today. Seek and destroy. It wasn't so bad that like you know, some seek and destroy days just tear you to pieces. You can't even get out alive. This isn't so bad, but if we look on the 15-minute, you know, barcode pattern, and that was the other thing is like I see these couple candles here. My rules say not to trade in a barcode, and I saw this distribution, and I thought, well, this candle could be it, so I went in on that one. But ultimately, just a barcode pattern. So low probability conditions today, which makes some sense to me because we had this strange news event. I've never personally seen non-farm Tuesday. I'm sure it's happened. I don't know if it relates to the government shutdown and catching up on red folders, but look at this. This is wild. It would have been a good event to full port something on, but you had 500 ticks, towards sell side prior to the news driver. And then you had 350 ticks to buy side. So yeah, I think that's it. Wraps up my day. I'm content. I give myself a reasonable grade on my performance. I still need to sort out some of my rules, like when do I go break even? The original rule was go break even at 1 hour, and then I noticed I kind of kept getting tapped out on good trades that would come back for a quick retest, like right in here, and then continue on. So I need to refine that rule, and I think the rule's gonna be something like after the retest and then 1 hour kind of thing. So yeah, that wraps up today's trade recap, and I'll be live streaming tomorrow.